Ahead of this interview, we'd like to warn viewers that they may find the content distressing as it relates to sexual violence.
Our next guest achieved justice after a 12-year fight through the system when the appeal court rejected her rapist's appeal against the severity of his sentence earlier this year.
After her own experiences, Ciara Mangan has founded a survivor-led charity that provides post-crisis support for survivors of sexual violence in Ireland. You're very welcome to the show this morning, Ciara. Thank you so much for joining us today. I suppose we have to start at the beginning, really, for you, the start of this story, where you were just 18.
Yes, I was 18 and I was drugged and raped, brought upstairs by the rapist and raped on the bathroom floor while I went in and out of consciousness. The rapist then left me on the floor and I ended up waking up in a bedroom, about 7 hours or so later, basically just choking on my own vomit. So everyone had gone to the nightclub and I was alone at that stage.
They'd left you?
They'd left me, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly not caring about your condition.
No, not at all. I mean, I could have died.
Yes, you could have done.
Yeah.
You started to question what happened to you, and this was because of the response you were getting from other people in the workplace. Can you tell us what that response was?
Yeah, so many people ask me, I suppose, why I went back into work, but I was in a complete state of shock.
Yeah.
That's what trauma does to you. And I went in complete autopilot. So I went back into work that next day. And then for the next 10 months after that, then I was taunted by numerous colleagues or co-workers of mine through rape songs, which would have been songs in the charts at the time where they would change the lyrics to Shane Noonan is a rapist and he loves to rape women, for example. And then other rape comments such as, you know, don't get too close to Ciara there because you've raped her once, you wouldn't want to do it again. So I endured that for about 10 months. And I know that the natural question after that is, why did I endure that or put up with that for so long? But I genuinely felt that this wasn't as serious. And let's not forget as well that I was drugged. So a lot of my memory was completely fragmented. So I really relied on others to put that story back together for me.
And at what point did you decide to go to the police about this and take it more seriously?
I really couldn't. It took me about 5 years to process what had happened to me. So in that time, I would have used the support services of the rape crisis centres. My parents were so supportive. My dad, he wanted to kill the guy, naturally so, but they just said, we will support you and we will be here when you're ready. And I went up to my room, was studying for I went up to my room and I was cleaning out my drawers and I came across this letter, and it was actually a letter that I had wrote to the rapist as advised by my counsellor at the time, with never the intention to send it, but just as a therapeutic practice for myself. And I found it and I read it and I went down to my mum and I said, I'm ready.
Okay, and this was how long after the attack?
5 years.
5 years, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Proof positive that it's never too late to take an action. So it took a while before justice was finally meted out to this person.
Yes, yeah. I would have navigated the criminal justice system for just over 7 years in totality.
7 years?
Yeah.
And what sort of toll did that take on you? I suppose, first of all, actually, as a young girl coming to terms with that, putting up with the abuse you suffered at your workplace,
yeah,
then dealing with the psychological trauma, the cost, both monetarily and to your mental health through all of this. I mean, it must, and for the people around you watching you go through that, can you describe it for us?
It's hard to describe. I mean, it's just pure psychological stress that would have, you know, I went through really bad times. I went through the mills. I would have gone into drinking. I was taking drugs. I've had the whole scenario that you see on TV of your mum throwing the pills down the toilet, like all that situation. I went through all of that in an attempt to cope. I would have done a lot of self-harming and attempted suicide 2 or 3 times. So to be honest, I don't even know at some stages how I'm here.
Yeah.
You go through so much. And while you're going through the criminal justice system, you're not living, you're just in a perpetual state of fight and flight.
Yeah. Shane Noonan was convicted of the attack he made on you. You waived your anonymity so that you could name your attacker. But it didn't end there. Then he appealed his sentence.
Yeah.
So did that send you almost right back to the start again?
Yeah, I was just immediately, well, I had 2 weeks of peace, I suppose, but that was a media kind of high at the time because my case got quite a lot of publicity. But yeah, 2 weeks later, I was thrown back into that justice system again because he appealed the sentence. Why someone who pleads guilty can first of all appeal the sentence is beyond me, but also he got time off for expressing remorse as well, which he then went and put me into a 22-month appeal process then.
Which is more torture that you really didn't need. But I, for a lot of people, I suppose, who, like there's people watching this that might have a similar experience to you, that have been too afraid to come forward and too traumatised by it. But I suppose for you, once you had that, after the appeal and he was finally jailed, and you breathe a sigh of relief for a while, but then what's left after that and who helps you after that? And that's why you set up Beyond Surviving, which is a huge step forward and a huge benefit to so many people. Tell us about that.
So I waived my anonymity on the steps of the Criminal Courts of Justice in Dublin, and I turned to the rape crisis support worker that was with me at the time, and I said, so where to next? And she said, unfortunately, this is where our journey ends and it's now time for you to go and heal on your own. Now, that didn't really sit with me too well in the times, a few weeks after that. I really went online and I said, this cannot be true. How the hell am I supposed to get on with my life and figure out how to go back to some sort of normal living? So I distinctly remember going online and looking for survivor groups. I remember typing in, what's the next step for me after the Rape Crisis Centre, which rendered no results. So I did all my research. When you're going through the charity regulator process, they will ask you, can you merge with another charity so that you're not replicating services? That wasn't the case. There was no service like this post-crisis. So I set up my own charity, Beyond Surviving.
Something that I know you're very passionate about and really want to talk about today as well is the type of people now, of women that are coming forward to talk to you. It's not just people your age who went through a similar experience. A lot of older women, tell us what are they saying to you?
Yeah, so over this past year at Beyond Surviving, we've worked with 153 individual survivors of both domestic abuse and sexual violence. They've been engaging in our peer support groups, and we also have pathways for survivors into their own advocacy. What's really striking me since I started this charity is the age cohort of those women coming. So they're 55 above. We've even had one lady come, she was about 75 or 80, and she came to the peer support group and she was dropped off, I think, by her grandson. And she said, I told my mum what happened to me when I was 16 and I have never told anyone since. So these women are coming from a place, we think we have a lot of shame in our society now, but go back then. It was 100 times worse. Where once you said, worse. It was like, oh, I don't want to know about that. Oh gosh, no, even if you told your mother, like it was an absolute shameful thing to say. So these survivors are coming to Beyond Surviving, having navigated their healing journeys alone for decades. And that only goes to show you that healing from domestic and sexual violence is a lifelong process, and service provision has to reflect that. Yeah,
because a trauma like this will shape the rest of your life.
Yes, we hear all the time it's a life sentence the victim gets, and that's the reality of it.
The work you're doing is amazing and it's been recognised as well. Can you tell us about that?
So we got nominated for an award, the National Social Enterprises Award Startup category. We didn't win this year. And then we're also on the Social Entrepreneurs Impact Programme, which is €20,000 in unrestricted funding. But it goes so much further than that because we get about €30,000 worth of pro bono expertise, which just is invaluable. And it's that community of fellow founders and just to help us scale the organisation to build resilient leaders. It's tough being a solo founder.
Yeah.
So just to have people to bounce off with shared challenges of working in this sector is incredibly, I'm so grateful to be on the programme.
As I mentioned earlier, there's going to be people watching this today that have had similar experience to you. Maybe they pursued the court systems, maybe they didn't. They'll want to know how you're doing now, and they'll want to know maybe what advice you'd give them.
I'm doing really, really well. I have reached a point in my healing journey where I can see more positive outcomes out of what happened to me as opposed to negative. I've spent a long time living in that negative phase in my journey. I just knew that there was so much more to my life beyond surviving. I never wanted to, the thoughts of just, I was so well supported in the rape crisis centres, and then to just have no support after that, it felt so foreign to me. So I'm just incredibly passionate about making sure that survivors are supported at every stage of their healing and recovery journeys. And our needs do evolve as we progress, and service provision has to evolve with that.
And thank God you're there to provide that
beyond
support for a
surviving
lot
is,
of people.
yeah, provided by
Amazing
survivors. And by the way, Shane Noonan lost that appeal.
Yeah.
Ciara, it's been so lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, and well done on what you do. It makes such an impact and such a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.